Welcome to Energy Linguist, a sacred space for awakening souls ready to receive divine transmissions and the raw truth that sets them free. I am Laura Ahern, a spiritual channel and energy translator here to bring through messages from highest guidance to help you hear your inner knowing, reclaim who you are beneath the noise, and live from the truth within. Take a breath. You've found the space where remembering begins. Hello, everyone. This is Laura, the Energy Linguist, and I am so excited to welcome you back here today for another episode of Energy Linguist Podcast. Today, highest guidance is wanting us to talk about your future. Many of you are yearning to have a different, more fulfilling experience in your life. You're looking to get off the hamster wheel, to get out of the cycle and into a flow that is most aligned for you, a flow that actually has been calling you into it. And with the way we have interacted with our worlds, we have probably experienced the seeking of our future as anything but a flow or a pull. Usually, if we are operating in the old paradigm, in the programmed way of being, the seeking of our future feels like a lot of trying to figure out, trying to create a lot of external and excessive output. And today, the messaging is anchoring us into a more powerful truth that allows us to get out of our own way. And so we're going to dive right in with the messaging today in the hopes of supporting you as much as possible to get into a more magnetic state with that which you are truly seeking. So we begin with talking about your future, your present, and your past. What if I told you that your past is not creating your future? Take a breath into that for a moment. How many of you have been outputting an excessive amount of energy wrestling with your past? It's okay. You can put your hand up. It's important for us to know this. This is the awareness that actually begins to set us free. So I really want you to take a moment to consider this and to inquire within yourself around this. There is a spiritual truth that is sometimes next to impossible for us to absorb as programmed beings regarding our own journey through this life, the way we experience time, the way that we seek our future. Because as human beings in a physical body, we experience time in a very linear fashion. And it's mostly to do with this sensory experience that gets computed into our cognitive mind. If you imagine we are existing in a physical reality, and each time our bodies in physical form experience something sensory, whether it's physical touch, emotional stimulation, it's all really vibration at its core, but we notice it in different essences of our being. So it could be physical, mental, as in a thought, emotional. Usually it's all of them in some sort of way. Sometimes one is just more obvious than the other. What happens when we experience the sensory information is that our mind then starts to cognitively capture its data in this attempt to organize the information and derive meaning out of it so that it can properly catalog it to keep us safe. If you imagine, this is a survival mechanism. On account of this computing, what happens is that our experience becomes something like this. I have just experienced that, right? We're taking in this information. We're trying to make sense of it. I am now experiencing this, where we're deciding what that means. We're deriving the meaning. And then what follows is, I can expect that this is likely what will come next. So if you imagine The program nature, the feedback we've received and stored within our minds in order to keep us safe and surviving starts to create the very hamster wheel that actually keeps us trapped in suffering. Take a breath into that. Do you feel how ironic that is? In many ways, the way that we are wired does keep us safe. We are not here to shame our safety mechanisms. However, we are also here to step into the awareness of intentionality and discernment around what's happening so that we are not just simply blindly believing the emotions that rise or the thought, that inner dialogue that rises, or even this conclusion of what comes next that keeps us behaving in an unconscious manner that is actually creating what comes next. If you imagine when we buy the old beliefs that this is what I can expect next, we are going to inadvertently adjust ourselves to expect them, to prepare for them. And whether or not you're aware, your frequency that you're carrying, the signal that you're putting out is one that is attracting that cycle over and over again. I want to set you free here today because God is guiding you into something greater than you have allowed yourself to yet experience. The powerful truth that I want you to feel in the core of your being is that your past is not creating your future. It has only appeared this way because of how our cognitive mind experiences this physical existence. The truth at the core of our spiritual journey is that not only is your past not creating your future, but your future is creating your past. I'm going to say that again because this is a spiritual concept that will literally bend the framework of our consciousness. And so I want you to hear this one more time. Your future is creating your past. Your future is calling you into it. And your spirit came to this planet to evolve and expand into this highest potential that is pulling you forward. You are here to engage in this free will of rediscovering yourself on a soul level. You are here to make choices that move you closer to this highest potential. And to support your spiritual evolution, God, divinity, the universe shows up, providing you that which is required in order to pull you into this highest potential. Now, I know many of you might be reflecting on some extraordinarily challenging moments that you've faced in your life. Maybe you're going through them right now. They are your fuel. And I tell you that because as impossible as it can seem to get through certain things, what I know is that you are being refined. This is an opportunity for you to be refined by your challenges so that you can build the strength that is required, not just to make it into your future, exhausted, depleted, run down, hopeless, but instead to make it into your future with the strength and perseverance and confidence that is required for you to sustain yourself in this luxurious, abundant, joyful life. The most challenging truth is that usually the most unacceptable and undesirable moments that you have had in your life are the ones that are calling you the loudest into your future. They are the dichotomy of this experience where you literally feel like you have no choice, when your choices in those moments matter more than they've ever mattered in your entire life. When you work to find where your choice exists in a seemingly choiceless situation, you reclaim your strength. You find power within you that is unstoppable. that propels you into the very future that is magnetizing you towards it. Your future has been pulling you forward towards it all along. And yes, there are road signs in the form of our experiences, painful ones. And these are meant to teach you, teach you about what you're capable of, to redirect you to where your spirit is meant to be. It is a divine redirection, and you do have a choice to allow it to serve you. And so today, Highest Guidance wants us to talk a little bit about the vibration of future so that you can fully anchor this message and embody it in your life. The etymology, the root meaning of the word future, it has Latin roots, and the Latin word is futuros. And what is profound about this vibrational meaning of the word future is that it's not actually rooted in this concept of time moving forward or in a distant place ahead. It's rooted in being and becoming. The future, at its core vibration of the root meaning of that word, is simply that which is in the process of coming into being. So the future isn't something that we move forward in linear time with. It's not something that you are seeking on a certain path per se, doing specific things, analyzing, figuring it out, externally forcing it into being. But instead, it is something that emerges from our state of being. Which is why it's so important for us to understand the universal support that has aligned us with circumstances in our life, both great and terrible, to allow us to refine our state of being, to become awakened within that state of being, so that what is meant for us can truly emerge. This Latin meaning reveals that the future is an active process of becoming. It is not a destination in time. And when you choose to embrace this unorthodox reality, you allow yourself to begin creating your world, not from seeking something outside of yourself, but instead through the intentional embodiment of the truth of your path. The majority of you who are listening to this podcast right now, you've aligned with me because at the core of your being, you seek to make this world different. You're a change maker at heart. You are someone who has a voice, an opinion, a perspective, and a love, a great love to share, to make a difference for others. And you are likely empathic in nature, meaning you care deeply about others. And knowing this about you, it's even more likely that you have been caring for others at the expense of yourself, from an energy of self-abandonment. And guidance is coming through for you today to unveil that you have these tendencies that they want you to release. You have a tendency to seek the future, right? To run at a certain point on a timeline, which has kept you running in this hamster wheel. You also have a tendency to focus on others at the expense of yourself. And they want to remind you that self-sacrifice is not heroism. It actually prevents you from having the greatest impact because it's depleting your vital life energy, your soul's energy, your mission that is meant to have an enormous ripple effect. The truth about this focus on this external place in time, or the focus on the external person, is that it's an act of self-avoidance. And they want you to heal from this, which is why they're unveiling this to you today. Your future is calling you, and the thing that has been in the way is you. The majority of the collective will stay in a state of suffering because they do not want to address that which is rising from within them. They do not want to pause long enough to look at addressing what is truly layered within them. Those things they felt, those things that they were told to push down so that they could survive, the things you regret, the judgments, the labels, the condemnation that you agreed with. Even if the external world placed them upon you, they have not yet been discarded. You are owning them as your own. And unfortunately, you are owning them as you, which impacts this frequency and this signal of what you believe your worth to be that is then manifesting your outward reality. The irony here is that this avoidance of our own inner terrain, of actually looking at what's there and taking the time away from our cycled life to address it, is actually creating a permanent home for that pain to live in our being. Pressing it down, avoiding seeing it, is creating a home for the deceit, for the confusion, for the chaos to take root within you, to deeply root itself until you believe you are those roots. And it's time for us to do some pruning. For those of you who are listening who are a woman, and you are called into my Redwood retreat that is happening this March 2026, I invite you to please heed the call to address that which is rising within you. You know you cannot change your life doing the same thing that you've been doing because you're getting more depleted, you're getting more run down. You don't have the answers in the external world. They exist within yourself, a self that we cannot access unless we remove ourselves, even for just this short moment of a few days. Remove yourself from the frequency that keeps giving you feedback, telling you how limited your life is and telling you all about what it thinks you are. The feedback is a lie. The truth of the matter is this: our inner world holds so much garbage. This inner dialogue, these ideas, values even, that are not ours. Things we're seeking on that timeline that we think will suddenly make us feel whole, but they don't. Not yet. They're not ours. That's not actually what your soul is desiring. The external world provides us feedback. And our entire life, it has been providing us feedback on how we should feel about all of the things that we have done, all the things that we have felt, all the ways we've shamed ourselves about when we actually spoke up in alignment with our truth, and the doubt and the embarrassment that overflows and overruns us for finally acting in alignment until we just silence ourselves again. What's happening is that when we do not break ourselves out of receiving our feedback from the external world alone, it will determine our worth. It will determine if we feel we're enough, and it will determine if we feel safe and secure within our own lives. Being physically depleted is not a sign of safety. Being emotionally or mentally spent is not a sign of safety. But there is a safety that exists within you that you can access when you silence that noise. When you release yourself from all of that extra stuff that isn't you, that's creating confusion. It's creating confusion on how you want to show up in the world, how you want to contribute yourself. It's creating confusion around exactly how you want to serve others. how you want to bring your unique vision and voice into this world. And it's creating confusion around what you feel is possible for you. Because I promise you, from where you stand today, no matter how big you think you can dream, there is more than that for you when we get rid of all of the extra stuff that is creating confusion in our system. When we refine the frequency, the magnetism that is meant to be aligning with that future that's pulling us towards it. Your future, what your soul is destined to experience, is attempting to magnetize you into it. However, if we keep recalibrating ourselves to match a frequency that is the opposite magnetism as what our future holds, we will be actively pushing away from this beautiful, abundant life that is calling us forth. The way you interpret your world, the way you feel about your world, is what is recalibrating this frequency. It is the magnet that exists within the core of your soul that is materializing your world. It is manifesting your physical experiences and outcomes. I can tell you from a place of personal experience that I have spent an extraordinary amount of money seeking outside of myself for clarity that can only come from within. On my own journey into my true soul's calling, I invested probably more than $100,000 just to discover that what I was seeking was already within me all along. And it wasn't something outside of myself, a strategy that actually gave me the clarity. It was finally releasing all of the excess that was telling me I had to do it a certain way, that I could only fit it inside this limited small box. The feedback that was telling me your dream isn't valuable. Your dream is too unorthodox. You aren't like everyone else. I am so grateful that my soul finally discovered that all of that resistance built strength enough for me to say, you're right, I am not like everyone else, and I don't desire to be. I am sure many of you have probably heard the saying that what you are seeking has been in you all along. However, knowing that, right, the knowledge of that is not the same as the integration of that. And if I can gift you with anything, it is to condense the over decade of time I spent seeking and save you the hundreds of thousands of dollars of investments and bring you into a container that supports you in refining what's within so that that signal is so clear that the doubt evaporates, that the clarity of your path is so illuminated, that there's this confidence you have when you step onto it and into it, where you literally recalibrate your frequency to match that of your future. And divinity does the work with you. You no longer feel like you are doing it alone. We must truly integrate what we are, uniquely are, within our own being, to realign with that frequency of our truth, the truth around our own unique values, desires, and ideas, our own unique contributions and creations. Because only then do we truly become invaluable. Only then do we finally have the clarity of our calling that not only magnetizes the abundance to us in the form of extraordinary health, extraordinary relationships and clients and experiences, but it also magnetizes us into the destined future that has been calling us. the one that our soul has been seeking all along. In a future episode, I am going to share more with you about the etymology of destiny. But here's what I want you to know about that right now. Your destiny isn't out there waiting for you to find it. Your destiny is what stands through you when you stop running and you start being. It becomes. You cannot create it with more output. We have to go within first. And when you finally establish yourself on your own ground, in your own values, your own desires, your own truth, and you own that in the core of your being, that's when the future stops being something that you chase and it becomes something that emerges through you. And that's the difference between seeking externally and creating from this coherent signal, the magnet that attracts to the magnetic future that has been calling you towards it. As we wrap up today's episode, I want you to remember your future is fundamentally about the unfolding of what is. The future isn't something to fix or reach or chase, but it's what's being revealed through our experiences, through our coherence, and through our capacity to do our own inner seeking right now. For those of you who feel ignited by this message and would like to join me in the Redwoods, please visit lauraahern.com/retreat and explore exactly the accommodation that is looking to hold you in this transformation. Just 1 week of your life can literally change everything. It can change what has not been changed for 20 years or more. I have seen it. I believe it. But you must also believe it on your own behalf and choose to claim it if you truly desire to step into this future. Sending you so much light and love. May you be blessed until we're together again. Namaste. Thank you for being here, for listening with your heart, and for opening to the truth meant just for you. If this transmission resonated, I invite you to visit lauraahern.com for free resources and sacred support to help you accelerate your awakening and walk your path with more power, trust, and grace. Until next time, trust what you feel, honor what you know, and believe in your power to create something greater than you've ever imagined.